to look out the window, you hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, crying, voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, voices from the ghetto. Just hold it head on ball, and them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher eyeing she daughter, son in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for him, he a name bad boys. No bail, that's the black man's choice. Like Shadow say, poverty is hell. She little girl child belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Where will it all end? Only time could tell. Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly will growling. Police raid very often, Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping, next night is a wake that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto, not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 voices from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, hear them pleading. Crying, voices from the ghetto. Forgotten people. Hear our prayer. With dented pride they soldier on. Revolutions gave politicians born, and often their tragic story brings a journalist glory. No wonder they view the world with scorn. From since the day they're born, some call them rebels without a cause. These social victims of unjust laws, but yet they christen the heroes, renegades, desperados, forever knocking on heaven's doors. Hear me? Steel band music shatters the silence, harmony to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. Young Turks, they're tough protecting, almost every young girl expecting. So tomorrow begs in a borrow, there'll be another voice from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, crying, yeah, voices from the ghetto. Crying, mama, crying, papa, voices from the ghetto. Social amenities, Lord, heaven knows. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get work once it white collar, so if you can't stretch your dollar, it's later for you crack or smoke your pipe. You're short of dead from gripe. Life does rape dignity and pride, till there's only bitterness left inside. Arguments are settled with muscle till you're 6 feet deep by tree
voices from the ghetto. Crying.
I was born and bred in the ghetto.
Crying.
I know what I'm talking about, you know. I'm from the ghetto.
Yes, indeed, of course. A pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, and Trinidad, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. Pleasant good day to you. My apology for, of course, the tardiness in terms of the actual, of course, ability to voice, to project my voice. But that was because I was getting some technical issues, both on the camera and, of course, and the video that you're seeing behind me. Because, of course, tonight I want to highlight a particular subject. You see, I have always argued that it is Laventille that gave the country its national culture. Steel band, calypso, claiming that too, as well as, of course, Carnival. And of course, no one could falter me for that when one looks at the fact that Carnival is marked or is inaugurated with Camboulet. And Camboulet, of course, is what is reincarnated or is celebrated or is reenacted where? On the greens. And that, of course, is in close proximity to Nelson Street, Duncan Street, Prince Street, and of course on Piccadilly Street proper. Nobody could do that. And of course, whether you want to say Spree Simon, you want to say Rudolph Charles, and of course that Panman from Laventille that got that highest award, the Trinity Cross, are talking about that what I consider to be the most iconic pan tuner. And he was, of course, the man behind Highlanders. I'll get Bertie Marshall, yes, Bertie Marshall. Quite apart from the other heroes, as I've said from time to time, even Clinton Bernard, the former Chief Justice, came from Duncan Street. So we have had our fair share of persons with tremendous talent that have made, of course, an impact on Trinidad and Tobago. But I want to tell you that in that same place, there are other unsung heroes. There are other initiatives that if they did not exist, let me repeat, if they did not exist, particularly where crime and criminality, gang warfare, and the borderline issues are concerned, if these initiatives and these individuals who are committed, of course, to the area, whether it be Laventille, East, West, whether it be Beetham, Silats, whether it be East Port of Spain, where, of course, Nelson Street, Duncan Street, Piccadilly Street are located, George Street, where I am here right now, I want to tell you that the situation would have been worse. Could you imagine the situation on crime and criminality worse? Well, yeah. Stretch your imagination to wherever. And because of these patriotic, unsound heroes, the situation has not escalated further than the already unacceptable level in contemporary times, in present times. That is the existential situation. And they're not going to get credit for that, but we have to pin our own lapels and blow our own trumpets. Otherwise, nobody recognizes you. I remember one day, most of you will remember Umbala, Englishman wrapped up, of course, in African skin. I would like to call him that, even though he is deceased. I don't know if he was alive, if he would have, of course, taken on that accolade and maybe take action to bring defamation action against me. But I think I could say it now because he has passed on, because he was a controversial figure and a stickler for for principles, but of course, I consider some of those principles warped. You see, I was on one of his programs whilst he was alive, and it came to a situation where I, having founded and spearheaded the MLIO Trade School and treating with, of course, hundreds of young people of the type that we are concerned with today as we were then, those who are either engaged or have the potential to engage in criminal behavior. Yeah. And I want to distinguish that one time those category of young people that still exist from those that would find themselves in Serval, for example, or find themselves in some kind of government, let's say, incomplete vocational skills training programs such as MyLab, BITAP, YTEP, the Citizen Conservation Corps, etc., etc. Different group of persons which we recognize and have accepted, and as a consequence of which, persons who recognize the problems such as I and like-minded people decided to do something about it, because we could not allow, under good conscience, our young people to deteriorate and to find themselves either in a prison at the wrong side of a bullet, whether it be that of law enforcement or that of a gang member or a gang rival. And so it is as a consequence of that, back in 1984, we decided to do something about it right in Laventille itself. Because we believe, and we still believe and understand that it is upon the people within the community, once they are conscious and once they have the capacity and once they have the tenacity and the technical and other, even if they have to acquire it from outside and bring it in, but they must lead the charge, because they still have the respect, they still have the consideration of those young people who may be so inclined to engage in violence and criminal behavior, but because they know you, because they know that you know them from a little toddler and growing up, they will have a modicum of respect, and that is what we capitalize on, those of us who have decided to remain and to do something about it. And so, of course, as I have said on numerous occasions, MLIO was born. But coming out of that experience, in 2009, the then Manning administration, notice 2009, next year 2010, very significant. The then Manning administration was at its zenith and was in a state of discombobulation or total and absolute flummox, because they couldn't put heads or tail as to how to treat with crime and criminality, and therefore Manning as Prime Minister decided to glean or to engage the population by coming out of his, what I consider to be his castle office of Prime Minister, and interact with the people. And the last leg in 2009 was in Laventille, where I made my presence felt, and I made my presentation of a 1,000-page document chronicled all of the work that we did from 1984. What worked, what didn't work, what are some of the projections, what are the evaluations, how did we come about generating the formula or formulae, more than one formula, to do what? To address this multifaceted, multidimensional problem that our young people will gravitate into. And of course, it is multifaceted, multidimensional, as I said, and there are specificity to support that position, that postulation, and that is at the level of the family, at the level of the neighborhood, at the level of the peer interaction, young people interacting with each other, linemen in other words, and of course, at the level of the village, at the level of the leadership that is associated with those social construct that I've mentioned earlier. And I referred, of course, to the family. I referred to the church. I referred to the schools. I referred to, of course, the law enforcement. I referred to the judiciary. And finally, of course, the prison, which is the ultimate. But we will stop at the level of the church and the schools and back down to the family and the neighborhood. Because within that a grouping, within that matrix, there evolved a number of leaders that would have been doing their part to either exacerbate or curb the situation. And so we came up with 11 types of leaders within that framework that I've just mentioned. 11, 10 and 1, 11 types of leaders, which we are going to go into detail sometime in the future. But tonight, I want to focus, of course, on the whole question of the community seeing the problem and decided to do something about it. And the opportunity presented itself when Manning, as Prime Minister, and Martin Joseph, as National Security Minister, in attendance or part of his entourage, came to Laventille. And what transpired? Well, that document that you're seeing there turning automatically page by page is a consequence of that visit. It's a consequence of that encounter. 2009 I'm talking about. You see, I am emphasizing there because remember in 2010 the UNC took over, the government that is, and in came Kamala Prasad Bisesa as Prime Minister. But there was also some other developments around that time as well. Because just before 2010, the Prime Minister then, Manning, had instructed Martin Joseph to meet with me, having presented, of course, a 1,000-page document at the Success Laventille Secondary School, where the discussion led by Manning took place. And in my presentation, I didn't have much time, so I had to just say, here is the document, and you deal with it. Well, of course, Martin Joseph was instructed to meet with me. And as a consequence of that meeting, an additional meeting was set up to meet and make my presentation to the National Security Council. Yes. You know what I say? I say I was invited to make a presentation as to our position as to addressing crime and criminality and young people going astray and engaging, of course, in the havoc that we are seeing today. And of course, that meeting was held at the old fire station, just of course on the southern side of the Red House. And just north or on the same compound with the National Library. So inside of that building. I took along with me Archbishop Barbara Gray Burke, who was there, of course, for support. And I made a PowerPoint presentation on the technical material that they would have had there for that purpose. So I brought along a flash drive with the PowerPoint presentation recorded, and then I used their facility on a whiteboard in order to illustrate, in order to demonstrate, in order to project it to the gathering officials of the Ministry of National Security that included the minister himself, Martin Joseph, the then acting commissioner of police, the then head of the army, and in those days you had representative, I think from Scotland Yard, I think from the FBI as well, and other international law enforcement agencies recognized at the time. And the setting was one of a horseshoe shape, where I was standing at the open end of the horseshoe, making my presentation on the whiteboard. Whilst, of course, my audience, including, as I said, the Minister of National Security, then Martin Joseph, were in attendance. Yes, indeed. And I want to say, as I've always said, I said, Heinz, you know, I always like to taunt you. I addressed the National Security Council of the PNM before you. I must put in that in a discussion like this. Must do that. But at the end of it all, this document was prepared. And you would see at the beginning of it, several then ministers. There was Hazel Manning, Donna Cox, Nyland Hippolyte, yes, Marlene MacDonald, and of course the minister himself. Let me go back to the beginning of the document so you'll have an appreciation as to what I'm talking about. So there we go. Let me pause it here. But they were the ministers. The only non-ministers you would see in the picture as well is me there, next to, of course, Martin Joseph, who is at my left. I don't know if it's your left will be, or it might be your right, but my left, here in studio. But you'll see the others, Nyland Hippolyte to the bottom there, and then, of course, Marlene MacDonald, the wife of the then Prime Minister, Hazel Manning, and, of course, Donna Cox, who was the representative for Laventille East Movement. We will continue in a while. I want to show you that we saw the problem and decided to do something about it and to solve it on a permanent, or should I say a sustained basis. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Let me just make sure that everything is in place. Hold on. Don't move at all. Let me just make sure that everything is in place. Don't move at all. We'll get that rectified momentarily. All right. Are you hearing me now?
Always hearing you, right?
All right, good.
Right here.
Yes, go ahead, man.
All right.
Yes.
I want to start the car back at P and here. That's the acronym for the PNM Reborn. National Corruption Movement. I think Anil coined that too.
All right.
Let me start from the so-called Father Initial. It is alleged from the PNM supporters, they say he was one of the brightest policemen. Remember that?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I had to talk about that tomorrow when you go report. It's something try today. So we thinking alike, man. You know, like-minded people, I suppose, gravitate and think similarly. But go ahead, my friend. Yes.
If he was so intelligent and so bright, how he allowed Johnny O'Halloran to put so much money on it? If he was bright, think about it. He would have seen that the man was is the executive director now. Or, as you say, they were thinking alike.
Hmm.
If Johnny H was a corrupted person and everything spilled them out, likewise, think about it.
Well, yeah. Well. I mean, you say it loud and clear. Birds of feather flock together. So they are like. Go ahead. Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So, and if we come down the road with all of the Prime Minister, from George Chambers, after taking George Chambers, he likewise, I don't know if he deal with money or he deal with flesh. You understand? The Toronto blood scandal.
Yes.
You had Manning taking collateral damage and meeting with the community leaders who were known gang members. And you have KCR. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a pattern. There's a pattern in law enforcement. It is called modus operandi. So the method of operation. So you're seeing that pattern coming down the road, and they can't change, and they are still that way.
And what is sad, the propaganda inculcated that psychological stress on the whole of the nation.
Yeah. Condition the nation to accept that level of what I consider to be miscreant behavior for good government and governance. I mean, in Shakespeare can say it better in Shylock. But go ahead.
Right. Now, when the secretary found out that they could use the 1985-86 election, your partner, Johnny O'Halloran, jumped ship and he went to Panama for sending a ship. So they were. We lost connection there.
No, I good here. You hear me? You hear me? I hear you. Are you hearing me? Talk. Ah, boy, I don't know what happened. All right. Well, we have lost connection, obviously. Let me see if we can reboot. Are you here now? We all right now?
We lost connection, so I jumped out and come back in.
Okay, right, good. All right.
So we were talking about all of these things they're doing. They're conditioning the country.
Yes.
When the new would have lost the 1986 election, or around 2 years or 3 years before, jumped to Panama, and
Yeah.
one Panama. But more importantly, those things that they condition, the same time, the propaganda, psychological machine, throw into the public domain. It is not time for Indian Prime Minister. We have to remove that from the psychology of criminality and everything. Because if we continue with that mindset with the PNM, we will continue down a road, a Haiti boulevard we have basically carried us. Now listen to this. Every time they are in opposition, all sorts of things happen. The coup in 1990, you remember they were in opposition?
Yes,
The
yes.
email
yes,
gate.
Yes. My apology to those who were not hearing, but I had lowered the volume on the system, so that is why I think it has been rectified now. So my apology. Go ahead, Diego Martin.
Right. So I'm saying every time they're in opposition, They have nefarious behavior, untoward behavior. The coup in 1990, email gate. Look where your good friend and colleague, Small Pin, has gone. He has gone to Venezuela, and that alliance with Venezuela, with what Mia Motley doing, with what the Grenadian doing, has upset Irfan Ali and his ministers. You are seeing the post of the ministers in Guyana now. They are saying CARICOM has betrayed them. And our beloved Prime Minister picked up on that earlier clock with the Cala Bennett issue. Remember the Carlisle Accord in St. Vincent where CARICOM went and...
Yeah, at Argyle Airport, yes.
Right. They are saying now that was a setup, and you've seen it. And the most heinous action by Delcy and Mia. She asked Mia to invest in the oil and gas industry. Why? And why Mia doesn't want to invest in Trinidad oil and gas industry? Is that jealousy? If CARICOM, think about it, that would have cemented CARICOM relationship, because CARICOM together with KCR and his partner ENV sing Petrotrin, and people must never forget that. That is why we have in this predicament and that large debt around our throat because of Malcolm Jones. I was so vexed when I see that Delcy utterances toward Mia. Rowley didn't have sense to ask CARICOM to help him make Petrotrin profitable. So you see the heinous act that KCR did with ANV. He didn't want it to go back to, as they say, appeal the arbitration. So it's something sinister with this PNM, and we have to do everything to keep them out. God, have a nice night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I want to say categorically, because I think we had ventilated that on the ground report this morning. And I made it very, very clear. What we are not seeing is what is of significance to me. And I postulate, I beseech, I prefer, meaning that I'm asking you to look at, asking you to look at, that whatever Delcy does, and whatever attempts that she would use to publicly, whether you want to say humiliate, or ignore, or sideline Trinidad and Tobago, it will be impossible so to do. Let us not waste time with that. So all those grandstanding, going to Grenada, going to Barbados, none of them have the infrastructure for gas and the treatment of raw gas coming out from God-given earth and resource. Not like Trinidad and Tobago, you know. I'm saying they don't have it at all. None of them are as close to the boundary where, whether it be the Dragon, whether it be the Manatee, whether it be the Lauren, none of them have a boundary that is so close in proximity to where the gas is, even though, of course, it may be in Venezuelan waters or territory. None of them. None of them have had the goodwill or the good graces or the consideration favorably of the American government. It is foolhardy to talk about futuristically and future administration. But even in those circumstances, let's say other administration comes into office other than the Republicans, they will have to deal with Trinidad and Tobago because all administrations and all of America had problems with Venezuela and Maduro. And Trinidad and Tobago would have been a facilitator by way of utterances, not by actual deployment of assets, but by diplomatic maneuverings that would have included, if it became necessary, the utilization of the territory called Trinidad and Tobago only if Venezuela had attacked a sister CARICOM state, Guyana, and therefore the Essequibo. So let us not waste time. Those grandstanding, Stuart Young is just making an ass of himself by going and taking picture with Delcy to do what? And as I've said last night, and I think it is worth repeating, and I did not emphasize on the ground report this morning, but I'll do that tomorrow morning. By any stretch of the imagination, let us assume, God forbid, and he has forbidden, so I want to say that it's an impossibility, but yet let's assume, let's hypothetically say that somehow PNM remained in office up to today. You search your conscience, because my mind is already made up. Do you think that the Dragon Gas and the Laurel Manatee and all of the cross-border issues, including our OFAC license from the United States, do you think that the PNM would have been able to get that license and show a ready and palpable and inevitable access to that gas across in Venezuela? Do you think so? It's obvious. I mean, I've given you a rhetorical question because the answer is obvious. No. No. Because if it is that the PNM administration was saying in opposition that they are concerned about the radar, it means therefore there would have been no radar allowed in Trinidad. No American radar. Let us not waste time. You see, I'm saying this for a particular reason, because these people like to blow hot and cold and try to extract as much advantage, even though it is total nonsense and illogical and incongruent with their disposition, whether it be verbal or physical. So we have to reconcile that, and we have to, of course, to jettison or to eradicate or annihilate that nonsense. They cannot have it both ways. They cannot have it. The PNM cannot have it both ways. You cannot now say, for example, oh, Kamala Persad-Bissessar said that the Dragon deal dead, and so today, but she fighting to get diplomatic relations going with Venezuela in order to get the gas. The gas will come Trinidad and Tobago's way, whether you like it or not, and whether she said that or not. And as if to deliberately add insult to our intelligence, whether it be Beckles, whether it be Stuart Young and any one of their minions, including, of course, Imsbert, and, of course, Avery Brown, they will never tell you that the circumstances under which Kamala Persad-Bissessar said that the Dragon gas deal was dead was meteorically different to the present situation. when they came into office, even though it was a short span, the OFAC license was taken away from Short Young as Prime Minister. And that there was an armada coming this way to what we now know to extract Maduro from Venezuela, but we didn't know that time. But the fact is that the new government, after the 28th of April last year, decidedly said that they are in support of the efforts of the Americans and, of course, vicariously, in other words, not having to lift a boat or provide a cent. The Americans were getting rid right here in the Caribbean, right here in the Southern Caribbean, right closer to our shores, our borders, our maritime asset. Persons who would have been engaged in what? In contraband, whether it be drugs or whatever it is. The Americans was doing that for us because we have a drug and, of course, a drug and arms and ammunition problem. And so the Americans are doing it for us. So it was correct for Kamala to do that. And a good thing, because today we inevitably going to benefit from the dragon gas because of what transpired under the extraction of Maduro, facing, of course, trial in the United States at this time. But let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, sir, Dr. Lennox.
Yes, man.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm fine in this circumstance.
All right. So these PNM people, they lack understanding, you know. Especially these people on the ground.
Yeah. How the hell you can say that?
Since
she want to go there now. Go ahead.
Since 2012,
yes,
Venezuela was sanctioned by the United States.
Right.
Under Barack Obama.
Yes.
Barack Obama.
Yes.
And he was a Democrat.
Yes.
He was not Republican.
Yes.
He was a Democrat. So they must learn history and stop talking foolishness.
And therefore, your common sense will tell you, my friend, I don't want to interrupt you, but to make certain that I conclude my argument, and that is, your common sense will tell you that if the Democrats come back into office or replace the current Republican administration, they are going to be grateful to Trinidad and Tobago because Maduro was the problem, and that has been solved, and they're getting access to the oil and so on. So how the hell they will ignore Trinidad and Tobago's role in that whole process? And of course, how would they gravitate to Barbados and the other countries that did not facilitate? I mean, it's not common sense, and we must disabuse, and we must, of course, direct people in that direction. But go ahead, my friend.
And let's not forget.
Yes.
Under Biden, they had a bounty on Maduro's head.
Yes.
And then Trump increased the bounty.
Yes, right.
Right? So I don't know people coming up and talking this sort of foolishness.
If an administration change, I heard some scientists today, I read that say that we may find ourselves in some problems if the administration changes in the United States. No, there cannot be. It's impossible. Every administration, it was a bipartisan objective to deal with Maduro. Maduro has been dealt with. Everybody wanted his head to face trial in the United States. That has happened. Trinidad and Tobago has assisted in facilitating that, not with assets, but with their diplomacy. So how the hell America could be ungrateful to us? Come on, go ahead.
And the Americans' policy always remain the same. It's a continuity.
Yes.
Right?
And it
don't matter if it's Republican or Democratic.
That's right.
It's a continuity. So these people just talking rubbish.
Yeah.
Right? And let us look at this. Let us look at another angle.
Go ahead.
Had Kamala followed the propaganda of the PNM and gone the way of the PNM, we would have been sanctioned, the government, and you know what they would have said? Look what she do. Like, she get we sanctioned.
That's right.
Right? But she made the correct move.
I have gone further. I'm saying that if the PNM had remained in office, our cuckoo did cook.
Well, of course, that is why Rowley run and give the reins to Stuart Young. Because if you remember 2016,
hoping that somehow that would pacify the iniquities, the indelible and the irrefutable iniquities that they perpetrated on the people of Trinidad and Tobago, pursuing their own private and ideological warp disposition. But go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, so if you remember clearly, when Trump was in his first tour, he had a meeting with all the CARICOM heads, minus Rowley. Because Rowley was undermining the USA government with Maduro, and they knew that.
That's right.
And that's why the American ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago called Stuart Young a liar. I don't know if you remember that.
Out unprecedented,
yes.
Yeah, uncharacteristic of a diplomat, particularly of the stature of an American diplomat here. But he had to do it because they were blatant, and to what avail? To show that somehow they could challenge the great United States. Just imagine that. So that you have, of course, Camille Robinson just saying, "Who the hell is Trump?"
But in addition to
all of that transpired.
But in addition to that, we just import most of our food from America.
But we
are starving the country.
Our biggest
if we
trading
sanction.
partner. They're the biggest trading partner. Yeah.
Our internet comes from America. Look,
And
so all of these things would have been in jeopardy.
And we have a lot of barrel, what I consider to be residents from Trinidad in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of family and relations there as well. I would say more than even in the UK. So the PNM was totally out of it, and they better shut up because they're making themselves buffoons. The arguments are so desultory and so incongruent and so nebulous and so tenuous and so simplistic that it's making all of them look like asinine specimen of inhumanity, frankly.
And before I close, right? I understand that the opposition leader coming to talk about the state of the economy. That is very laughable. So, who have us in this position right now? Who the hell have us in this position right now? This is laughable.
Saying, where the money to do this, where the money to do that, where the money to, of course, increase the salaries or the percentage increase to public servants, etc. And you met $12 billion in 2015, and then by the time you demitted office in 2025, April 28, it was reduced to about $4 billion US are talking about. But yet still you have the audacity to come in people's faces and believe that we are asses and tell us where you getting the money from, knowing full well what you did, that level of profligacy, waste, corruption, nepotism, and we just have to look at the cabinet recusals and Balize House to know where the money would have gone.
And the other part, I don't know what is your take on it. This thing about the office of the president, 500 million US loan.
Yes.
I will listen off here to find out what is your take on that.
Okay.
Because I think that could be similar to a misbehavior in public office.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with that, but I will listen off here.
Once the
I will
evidence
listen
go in a particular way, but I will certainly touch on it before the end of tonight's program. But once again, of course, the number to call, you're seeing it there on the screen, 337-6940, 337-6940. Of course, the other number, 336-6594. If you have little assistance that you could provide to us, we will appreciate. And if we can assist you, well, of course, call that number as well. Right now. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello, yeah.
Yes.
That last caller they're talking about sanctions.
Yes. Among other things, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just say this. Even the Venezuelans and all, they're will thank us.
With tankers. Oh, yes. With tankers. Obviously, yes. Yeah. They have not yet demonstrated that because elections ain't come yet. But I'm sure that they'll see and them will be seeing the last of any office in that country. Go ahead.
Right. But you see, the thing about the last caller, they're talking about sanctions. He said what that even we import or export food and all concerning the sanctions.
No. You were saying that Trinidad and Tobago has a very huge commercial and trading relations with the United States. That's what you're saying, and therefore you talked about importation, etc.
What would be affected then? In areas now when a large country like the US put on sanctions on another country, right? Even when they put on sanctions in Venezuela suffered a lot through even the importation of medication for people who have things like diabetes and all these things, you know.
Yeah, non-communicable diseases, lifestyle diseases that is rampant in modern human beings and in modern societies. Yes, I agree.
So it would have killed off a lot of people in terms of people not being able to get the medication and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. And I could imagine what transpired for COVID. COVID.
Yeah.
It was a fear that these people come in here and bring the various strains. Remember, there were certain strains, and they said one, I think, came from Colombia, and therefore you don't have to stretch your imagination much to know what could come from Venezuela, having regard, of course, to the paucity of their medical system, of course, they having deteriorated rapidly. But go ahead.
Rapidly, yeah. But I want to go down a particular road here. When I first when I was in primary school, right? Now how does one be able to get a doctorate? I want to go down a particular road.
Go ahead.
Just give me a few seconds to this. Let me see if I could get it right and go down a particular road to show you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
How does one get a doctorate? Because I remember when I was going to school, in primary school, and you're very young still, right? And the teacher comes up on a blackboard and he explains what is like if you're doing maths, he will explain a particular sum or mathematical problem, right? And after explaining it, right, he will ask questions concerning the same thing that he put on the board, you know, and then he will make us do it individually. Right?
Right.
Now, after the individual thing, he will put you through the test. Now, if you get it wrong, I believe in trial and error. Right? I learned it from since primary school. If you get it wrong, he make you do it again. Right? This is how I know it from small. And you learn through that. Now, from primary school, most problems will emerge, and it will take you through that process of learning, right? Until you reach higher standards when you move from primary school to college, and then from college to maybe university, and beyond that, you have higher learning, right?
Yes.
But to achieve a doctorate, you have to go through the process, right? That whole thing, and then you go to university, and the professors will test you accordingly. They may put you, if you do your thesis, you write a whole thing on it, like a whole thesis, and they will question you on it, right? And then if certain things are wrong, they make you go back.
Yes.
Now, if you're answering their questions correctly, or I don't want to use the word correctly, but answering the questions in a meaningful, positive way, they would then, you know, give you marks accordingly.
Yes.
Right? How did, I mean, it always troubled me, but how did Rowley achieve that doctorate? I can't figure out to know what college or what university he went to to really get that.
No,
If
well, it
all
appears
one
that he got it at the University of the West Indies, but he went, I think, Jamaica. Yeah, and he went Jamaica, and there's a story that somebody told me that I think is very reliable. He said that the man was a pervert from very early, when everybody, of course, will go to the bathroom, every common bathroom. Well, he will go, but he will go with his. Most people will go with the bath towel around the waist. He used to put his on his shoulder.
So he was done making it back.
Yeah. So everything exposed. He's a sick man. That's what I was told. A sick fella. They say he was sick from since then. Total pervert, yeah. Everybody put him on towel around the waist and cover himself. He pull up his and put it on his shoulder and walk in just so.
Yes, very true.
By a sick man, you see, that's why I used to call him every day that he's a rapist and a pedophile. And he can't do nothing because he knows it's true. Yeah.
So, he never really achieved that after it then.
Yeah. So the man was so from a long time. Yeah. So I have to believe the people and them when they say that. Yeah.
Because when I'm going through all of this, I believe in trial and error.
Yeah.
So political science will also tell you that you have to use common sense too in political science.
Yeah.
There's a lot of common sense you have to use, right? Because you never could tell how individuals will think. And then again, it's not just about common sense. It's about leaders inspiring people
Yeah.
to do their best.
Yeah.
Right? You understand? Like I think I told you some time ago how Pile's grandson, right? Has gone to the what do you call it, down in the thing to play football.
Yeah. Yeah, in
Right?
Skinner's Park.
No. In Brazil. In Brazil.
Oh, in Brazil, okay.
Yeah. Pile's grandson.
I see, okay.
Has
Yeah,
gone
Pile,
down in the-
Pile, right, okay. That great,
Yeah.
great iconic,
Yeah. Right,
African, icon, yes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Football.
He went down in the what they call not the Bronx, what they call the